Hi.
Hello.
So we're going to try something a little bit different today. We're outside. I'm joined with a special guest, my wife. So you've gone car camping before, but you've thought about going backpacking. Well, today we're going to go over the 10 top things that you need to make that leap from car camping to backpacking. First item on our list is actually not a physical item, but rather a suggestion. First time you go backpacking, don't push your limits. Pick a destination that is within reach, so 1 or 2 miles. Going any further than that on your first backpacking adventure is probably going to push the limit a little bit, and you're going to end up not having a good time.
When we say don't go more than a mile or 2, we mean how far you hike into the woods. You can go further from your house than that.
Yes, you can go further from your house than 1 or 2 miles.
Probably should, unless you already live in the woods, then just go in your backyard.
Yes. First item, actually physical item, is probably the biggest barrier to entry to backpacking, and that is the backpack itself. Most of the items on our list you might have around your house or you could easily acquire. The backpack itself is probably the largest barrier to entry. You don't have to have a nice backpacking backpack to go backpack hiking or camping, but it definitely pays dividends if you're going a little bit further and carrying some weight. For me personally, back pain is always an issue, so investing in a decent bag is probably the first essential of going backpacking.
There are a lot of great stores that can help you get fit for a backpack that will work for you.
Like REI and REI. And there's also REI and then Moose Jaw.
But if you're only hiking a mile or 2 into the woods, you'd probably be fine just borrowing someone else's backpack if someone will loan you one, even if the fit's not great, if you're not hiking, 8 to 10 miles or more in a day.
Bring the old Jan Sport.
Yeah, we have a friend who did that with their old, high school backpack.
Yeah.
It strapped a lot of things on the outside. It looked kind of crazy, but it worked.
Backpack aside, the next one on the list is shelter. So shelter can mean a number of things. Typically, it means a tent. If you've gone car camping, you probably already have a tent. Thinking about a tent for backpacking takes on a little bit different definition because you're starting to think about weight and portability. So having a decent tent that you can easily put up and take down in a pinch, maybe it's about to rain, things like this, are considerations that maybe you're not thinking about when you're car camping. And like I said, weight is a big factor here.
I believe the full weight of everything is somewhere around 5 pounds. It's kind of a lot as far as a lot of backpacking tents go, but between the two of us carrying it, we manage the weight pretty easily. We did get it a little larger than is really necessary. It's a 3-person tent. We're both pretty tall, and we usually camp with our dog.
Yeah, she's a person too.
Me or the dog?
The dog.
Okay. A lightweight backpacking tent can be pretty expensive, and if you're not sure you'll like it, you might be able to use your car camping tent if it's not too heavy.
Are we done with the expensive things?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. I don't even know if the audio is going to work on this because it's so windy.
Well, it's giving us something to do during quarantine time.
In addition to the tent, something that I consider a must-have is actually a sleeping pad. So if you're sleeping on the ground, which you probably are, these things deflate and roll up and are pretty portable and lightweight. I think totally worth having to get a decent night's rest versus sleeping on like the soil or rocks.
Again, if it's your first time and you're just trying it out, you really don't need one of these, especially if you're going somewhere like the beach or somewhere with a lot of pine tree branches, soft mossy ground, things like that.
I love mossy ground. Let's get this stuff out of here. Moving on a little bit. Final item that you probably already have or may have is a sleeping bag. And depending on where you live and the temperature, sleeping bag is going to vary a lot. My wife here likes to go camping when it's like 45 degrees out at night, and I don't like camping when it's that cold, but we have sleeping bags that can handle that scenario just in case.
Yeah. If you don't want to buy an expensive, easily compressible, lightweight sleeping bag for your first time backpacking, go in the summer. Go when it's warm out.
Okay, so now that we have like the actual backpack, tent, sleeping bag out of the way, let's go on to some of the true essentials that you're going to bring with you. So first thing is food. So we have a few things here that are honestly, it might seem kind of like silly, but cheese. This is one thing that we always bring with us because it tastes good, it's high in calories, it gives you energy, and it's very portable, and it stays well. You don't have to keep it cold for a long time. Cheese is a good idea to bring with you.
Hard cheese in particular. You don't want to bring goat cheese or cottage cheese, but something really hard and dense like cheddar or Parmesan can keep for a long time without refrigeration.
And you can get creative with other foods too. So here we have like some like tuna snacks that come with crackers. I mean, they literally don't go bad. So it again, high in protein, high in energy, things that are gonna like get you further. Your decision on food also largely depends on if you're going to bring something to cook or if you plan on cooking. So we're gonna get to that a little bit later. But again, bringing things that you don't have to cook, ready to eat meals, good idea, because you might be in a situation where you can't make a fire. So again, bring food. All right, item number 4, a trash bag. So this one might seem simple, and it's probably the lowest barrier to entry. Now, obviously, you don't want to leave anything behind at your campsite, so bringing a trash bag that you can carry out with you and keep your kind of leftovers organized into a single place is a really good idea.
I like bringing these smaller grocery store bags as opposed to one big trash can. This just gives you a little more flexibility in terms of packing your backpack up to leave. You know, you don't have one large trash bag you have to fit in there. These are really easy to hang on the outside of your bag if you don't want to put your trash in your bag when you're heading out.
And you can find them at pretty much every grocery store.
They're cheap.
Unless you live in California.
What are they then, a quarter?
I don't know, you have to buy them though.
Oh, yeah.
Us here in Michigan, we don't have to buy our grocery bags. Speaking of bags, bear bag. Most places where you go camping should probably have bears. That's kind of a prerequisite. You definitely want to go camping places where there's a little bit of risk. That's what makes it fun.
You definitely want to put all of your smellable things somewhere at night where rodents can't get into them. You don't want to wake up in the morning to find that a rat ate all your leftover cheddar cheese.
So a bear bag is a very specific type of bag that is watertight, airtight, smell tight. And when you put things in here and then you wrap it up like this when it's loaded, you clip it at the top and then you can tie it over a bear pole or a tree. Speaking of that, the other essential item that you need that kind of goes along with the bear bag is rope and a carabiner. Clips onto the bear bag, throw it over a tree, or if you're camping somewhere that has a bear pole, you can use that.
I like using this thin but really strong rope. A lot of people prefer a thicker rope with a little more heft that is easier to get over your tree branch where you're trying to string this up. What I do is take this extra little bag that I made, we put some rocks in here to give it some weight, we tie this onto the other end of the rope and then throw it over the tree branch.
It's pure genius.
Thanks. A lot of backcountry campsites, if it's a designated campsite in the backcountry, will have a bear pole. Will you show a picture of a bear pole in the
I
video?
can show a picture of a bear pole.
Okay.
Here,
And so,
see the bear pole.
So that makes it a lot easier. You don't have to search around the woods around your campsite looking for a tree. It should be a tree that has a branch sticking out, as close to a 90-degree angle as you can get. That makes it a lot easier to get your rope up over the tree branch and string it up. What goes in there?
Food.
And?
Everything else that has a smell.
Such as?
Poop.
We mostly have brown bears where we camp in Michigan, and they are less aggressive.
They're cuddly bears. Cuddly bears. So there are a few other alternatives to bear bags, bear vaults.
There's a product called the Ursack. Different things are recommended for different locations around the country. Research where you're backpacking.
All right, next item, headlamp. So most people probably have a phone with them, which has a flashlight on it these days, which is very handy. But having the headlamp that actually goes on your head is going to pay dividends when it comes to navigating at night.
And this is great for car camping, reading in bed while your spouse is sleeping, all kinds of other useful things. If you don't already have one, no matter what type of camping you do, everyone should have one, in my opinion.
Can you leave it on for the rest of the video?
Possibly.
All right, so next item on the list, I don't know if Mackenzie thought that this one was essential, but a multi-tool. So having one of these handy is gonna also pay dividends because it can do a little bit of everything. You never know when you're gonna need like a hammer, some pliers, a screwdriver. Just in general, having something that is a tool that you can use instead of getting your hands dirty or broken is gonna be very handy. And
you use the knife to cut your cheese, otherwise, you're out there in the woods gnawing on your cheese block.
I just cut some cheese. Next item on the list, first aid kit. I forgot to grab it from the basement, so here's what a first aid kit looks like. Do we really bring a first aid kit with us?
I do. We've actually never needed to use it, but it's always in my pack. So this is our water filtration system. Lots of options. We probably picked this one because it was on sale. Lots of videos that show you how to use all of the different systems. Just wherever you are, make sure you have enough access to water.
We're in Michigan, literally surrounded by water, so it's not an issue for us.
Yeah, if you're camping in the desert, this might not be an option for you. You may have to pack in the water.
If you're like me and you struggle to make a fire out of thin air or spontaneous combustion, having a lighter with you is just a good idea. Bringing a lighter is pretty self-explanatory. You can use it to get your fire going. Another item that we bring with us, and the last item on our list, is something that we do bring every time we go camping, and that is a stove. You can also filter water with it if you want to boil your water instead of using one of the water filtration systems like we showed. The other nice part about bringing a stove is that you get a cup, which, believe it or not, also comes in handy for eating and drinking out of. So we have this nice little, what's the fuel that we use?
This is an alcohol burning stove. Okay. If you get into backpacking, I personally think the stoves are one of the most fun pieces of gear. I think we have 3 or 4 stoves. This is our smallest one. Very tiny. It spreads out like this. I mean, this is awesome. It's amazing. It hooks up to an isobutane fuel canister, produces a lot of hot heat for very lightweight.
I like hot heat. It's the best kind of heat. Final item, chair. So these things are highly portable, highly lightweight. I prefer to sit in one of these instead of sitting on a rock or sitting on the ground. Personally, after a long day of hiking, just giving something for your back to rest is really nice to have. These fold out and turn into a little bag chair that you can use to sit by the fire with. All right, so that does it, you guys. That is our list of 10 to roughly 13 or 14 things that you definitely should bring if you're going backpacking for the first time. We had fun making this video, didn't we?
Yes.
If you'd like to see more videos like this one versus me talking about cameras for 6 minutes, leave a comment, let us know. See you guys next time.